And we are live. Welcome to Revolution Now, a podcast hosted by myself, the Anglesist. Luckily, I have been given a time slot by the channel you see below, KRTD Media, and I hope this becomes more of a often thing. I have my guest, Comrade Net of the Bundist Movement, and we are here to talk about certain things that have gone on. So if you would introduce yourself now.
I'm a Comrade Net, as you said, Bundist Movement. My title and the position is Cleric of Public Relations. And I'm here to talk to you.
Yep, we are very familiar with each other. Very, very familiar. So I decided, and if we can get into the swing of things, I guess we can start now. So the new policing law that threatens the very existence of public protesting has been put in recently by on the floor of the UK government, which could include mandatory minimum sentencing, the increased lengthening of prison sentences. The maximum sentence for protesting is more than the maximum sentence of protesting is more than the minimum sentencing of rape if this new bill passes. It will also include more authoritarian, fascistic measures that I don't need to go into the specifics of right now. I actually have a video on that. You can check my channel link below. There's a 3-minute video called The Fascist Police State is Here, and it goes into it in more detail. So, how did we get to this point?
Oh, how did we get to this point? Because the far left failed a long time ago. It failed. It's not because it was wrong, or its principles were wrong, or that every socialist experiment was wrong, or every attempt at genuine direct democracy was even wrong, or it has a lot to do with. Obviously, this has a lot to do with neoliberalism, but really, I'm not being alarmist here, but I am more of the position that fascists won a long time ago. They not that they didn't lose in World War II, but that the actual systemic things that caused fascism were never addressed. And we're seeing a type of fascism that is the kind of fascism I said was going to happen. Because I deal with neo-Nazis on an average basis. I mean, they can make syndicates that run states in the United States, but they can't actually take over the country. It's not possible. Like, if you were to have a fascist government, for instance, in the United States, it would be a combination of the NSA and the Mormon Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, like, if you know the demographics and why. With you, though, this was going to come regardless. I mean, as soon as there was a spare bedroom, you might have been too young to remember, but there was a spare bedroom tax.
I'm aware of the spare bedroom tax. Yeah. And there was also the attempt of the poll tax, which caused a lot of riots back in the day in my parents' generation, where they tried to introduce a similar thing, but even worse than because it targeted people dependent on how many people lived in the house, as well as it was a tax, so that you would have to pay tax extra if you were a person who was living with their parents, which I can't go into the specifics because I don't know the specifics, but it was a similar thing to the thing that's happening with the bedroom tax now, and it is just a way to keep poor people even poorer than we already are. Like,
part of the problem you're having is that you're a monarchy, and that's never been resolved.
Yeah, that has never been resolved. You know, the funny thing that I was talking to my brother about was that if fucking Piers Morgan kicking up fuss, or like some of the royal family members calling the royal family racist, is what gets the monarchy to stop existing, rather than the paedophile scandal and all of the rebellion by fucking, the Irish, then he'll like be like, this is the most 2021 thing that could ever happen, that the monarchy gets cancelled out of existence instead of the actual like struggles that have gone on for years.
Well, I mean that's because
like, holy fuck.
This is really systemic to capitalism, but England. The thing about it is, as people realize, as the world opens up, this is the problem with neoliberalism. They open up the market, but they open up information too, because that's the market as well. And it's a contradiction that has been kind of a type of death stroke to capitalism. But whenever there's a death stroke, that's when you end up with the reaction, and you're seeing a high reaction in your country. So it's like, you know, I mean, you got the neoliberal problem, but neoliberalism is failing.
Yeah. And this actually gets onto the next topic, because I'm trying to keep this rather slim. But the neoliberal orthodoxy hasn't changed. Like you're in America, so I did want to touch upon America, and from the outside, the changes in government have basically done nothing, and everything is pretty much.
The
And
reason why we should, okay,
Biden said nothing will fundamentally change as well.
yeah, the reason why we've got to stop. I'm like, okay, like I respect people voting third party and stuff like that, you know, and I do respect the Green Party. I always have said that, and I always meant that. My problem with the Green Party is that they're for gun control, and being armed is more necessary than ever, because this state. There's no voting. There's no removing fascists from the police. The police are the fascists.
Yeah.
The state is actually crumbling in the United States right now. Like, the country is crumbling, and Biden is not only not going to fix anything. I mean, this is why I talk about the radical liberals as much as I do. Is they're fascists without being fascists. I mean, fascists require a divine belief. It's almost like radical liberals require the opposite. Well, the radical liberals run the country now, and that was inevitable. It's like they won't stop harping about the Capitol, but this is the thing. They let them in. What Trump wanted was to really take over, and what Biden wanted was to take credit for cleaning it up. It was more mutual, and it's possible. I know that this may sound stupid to people, but it's possible that Trump has never really been in conflict with the people he's been in conflict with. When you watch Congress and you see what's happening in real life, there's a serious difference here. It's like politics has become political theater, and it's a distraction. So because it's like, oh, this, that, but what about the fact that the ICE camps are very much out here? They've been out here, and they're getting worse under Biden.
No, yeah, and also if you watch the video done by Jason Unruh, another good comrade of mine, he covers the fact that they have banned like media going into ICE camps, ICE detention centers.
It was the first thing I did when the Sabbath ended. As I actually watched that, I saw that was a good presentation by Unruh.
No, yeah, it was, and the thing is that things aren't going to fundamentally change, and this means that it's very surface level, the transformation, which means you're essentially fucked. You are fucked. So fucked. America's fucked, England's fucked, and that's the current state that we're in. And that is the current state of address, and I don't see how anybody could analyze this differently. He's being honest about the situation. And actually, you think, like, using logic in the situation.
Well, I don't know what your next question is, but just my final thought about that is that I think it's time to kill reform and kill voting, and build. You know, I believe in taking over the civil society to crush the state. Whether that makes a new state or not is debatable, and I believe that could go either way, so long as the nation state never comes back, because my nationality will never be part of the state. So, you know, I think there's a lot of rethinking of things we have to do, and capitalism must go. It has to go.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I'm a fucking Marxist, because I fucking agree. But the thing is that like I do have to just think, like, and I do, like, if you're gonna vote, please don't vote for either of the main parties. The Green Party would be preferable. Any other like alternative party would be preferable to, like,
yeah.
The
thing out here was, people voted Bernie. It was obvious Bernie wasn't gonna. I disagree with, especially because the way he talks about Antifa and Black Bloc is stupid. But Chris Hedges was correct about the position with Bernie. Just don't vote for Democrats or Republicans. He was correct. Everything he predicted about Bernie came to pass exactly as he said it would. You know, I mean, his tactics of revolution are wrong, incorrect, and even reactionary if we talk about Chris Hedges, because he doesn't. It's all pie in the sky, as Dr. Weisfeld once put. But the flip side of it is that, however, his analysis of the two-party system is the most spot on. And That's where I would say that he's correct, because like, and I adopted that situation. It's like, no, there should be no voting. I mean, the anarchists I know out here won't vote. You know, every Marxist I know will not vote. You know, and ones I mean I know, because they don't see
Yeah.
the point. There's no point. It's more important to boycott the legislation and start building your society. It's kind of like your dual power thing, but it's more like we need the society itself to function without the state. But that does take a level of agitation and education that we don't have the backing for yet. But we are on our way. But it's not going to be revolution right away.
Mm.
Not until the first world ceases to be first world. But that I see that the United States has to fail as a country.
Yeah.
And we can't. And the truth is, I hate to say this, but you can't stop fascism. You can only oppose it as it arises, because the contingency plans have always been there,
Mm.
and they're
Yeah.
activated.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with these statements that you've made, like with the way that we've talked. And the truth is that, like, I mean, if you're gonna vote, please fucking don't vote for either of the main parties. Like, if you're gonna do it, fucking, there is no difference that like makes there's no difference that justifies. There is nothing that they have done there is genuinely nothing that they have done majorly that will like influence people to do this. And we've actually seen the thing of so many people don't vote in America and in England
Well, yeah,
because they
because
feel it does nothing, and it genuinely doesn't do much.
the truth is that I think we are closer to being ready for direct democracy. But I always say that, and this is kind of what separates me from others that advocate for that, is that we need a high mass education program before that, which I think, and I think we're on our way with that. But like it's the way it's set up. There's no way to vote. You can't. It's reactionary vote. In fact, if you vote, you're legitimizing the system. And if the civil society, which is what I would say, needs to break the state by, it can no longer participate in any way, shape, or form. It has to be deterrence. Like the government can't function if you don't acknowledge it.
Yeah. Let's see. So, do you think COVID is going away?
No.
Because I haven't seen it. Like,
no.
And the thing is that like, even if COVID goes away, and this gets to our final question, but like, people are going to be so fucking poor after this COVID crisis, after people stop getting the little checks, even if they do have the checks, which I don't even think they have the stimulus checks.
They have no solution. They have the capitalism. Okay, capitalism could deal with the Spanish flu 100 years ago. It's kind of racist that it's called that. But like they couldn't. They dealt with it because, number one, there were still feudal countries, as well. There were still feudal countries, and things were not quite where they are now. Now, imperialism has become globalism. It has become global class divide, first world versus third world. It has become everything's the commodity now. It's at its ultimate height, and in that situation, it can't deal with the virus because I don't believe in like martial law in any form. So no matter who's doing it, that's one thing I will say. I mean, I do believe in corrective thinking to certain countries. I do think that the United States, most Americans need forced corrective thinking, to be honest. But like the Germans had before. But I don't believe in martial law. I don't believe like restricting people's movements. I've been around places like that where that's very, that happened during the riots and everything like that. There was a type of curfew martial law. I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even like it for a pandemic because, we have measures as long as, like I haven't caught COVID because I have been smart. But so this the way this I'm kind of missing the point, but what I'm saying is that, we could have all socially distanced if this is why patriotism is dead. whether you like patriotism
Mm.
or not, is it can no longer coexist with capitalism, because the patriotic thing would be give out checks to everybody and say, by the way, nobody can evict anybody. Landlords are suspended from evicting, and everybody can stay in their places until this is over. That would have actually worked. I know that that's not what most scientists say, but that would have actually worked, because if but no, we had to keep the market going, and more people got sick, and more people got sick. And the United States, Trump did the most American thing. We had never had a president that actually truly represented America, what its soul was, which is yes, and he denied that it was there, which is the American thing to do, is to deny the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't know if that actually answered your question.
I mean, I don't. I mean, like, it was around the point, but the thing is that like, I feel like, and not just I feel, I have been informed to know that like that things aren't going away quickly. And hey,
No,
Falcon,
no, the,
like,
the virus is not going away.
I think it will be around for several more years. In fact, it's just
Yeah,
how
I get 5.
how willing are they gonna, how willing are they going to be to, just let people die? Like
Well,
that's the
they got
real
to
question.
trademark it. They got to put a trademark on it. America has to cover up any achievement China, Cuba, or Russia is doing that they might have made a better vaccine. I don't. That's the other thing. I don't trust an American vaccine. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you have your reasons for that, and if you want to, you can explain it, like, because the audience might not necessarily know.
The whole world was reaching for this vaccine, and they said America was trying to find it, but I don't know. Like I'm not. I know that sounds weird, but I think that America has an agenda to create a global police state. And people say, well, that's a no. If you've looked at documents, like actual government documents, and what they continue to do, they keep doing it. Like, oh, we'll vote for this person one more time. But that's where they want you, because people are passive enough now that they will have their children taken away. And neighbors are taken away in broad daylight in places like this, and nobody does anything because they're Mexican.
Yeah.
And so COVID, if you're not willing to stand up for neighbors, why would you be willing to do what's necessary to stop the pandemic? It's all about the market. The market comes first, everything else. So it's not going away. And you have America to be the prime example of why it's not going away. Not that,
Yeah,
but what I mean. It's just not going to go away. It's going to go away when enough people have died, and when enough people have taken the correct vaccine that actually works, or an immunization that might even be better. You can actually check out Dr. Weisfeld's on the pandemic. He did 2 videos. It's on his channel.
how many people do you think are gonna like be at risk of serious fucking poverty and homelessness after this crisis? Because I think the number is like in the million, like definitely in the millions across the whole world. I think there's going to be in the millions in the US and the UK of homeless people. I feel
Well,
like
okay.
and I have reason to believe that, like that 1 in 60 people could be in the US homeless.
Okay, well, this is related to the previous question.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 3 things going on here: homelessness, a pandemic, and climate change.
Mm.
There is no way out. We're not going to save ourselves. The only thing left is to fight and to start building your own communities. And people don't want to hear that, because people have become so dependent on the system that maybe the system would give them something, that people have lost the capacity of self-reliance. So, oh, hey, little sister.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I'm just checking everybody, but yeah, like there is. I think that we're gonna need to mobilize on this. I think that people because there's going to be so many people. There's already a lot of people homeless. There's going to be more. There's going to be way
well,
more.
this is why it's important to support the squatter houses, and to stop trusting in some fictional working class, and put your stock into the lumpen proletariat, and be patriotic to the third world and treasonous to your own country. That is the only way.
Yeah.
That's how you build a civil society that hates its own country.
Yeah.
You have to get people. I would in your land. I would start with the Irish.
I mean, the Irish are already fighting. The Irish question has been actually heightened to the degree, and the reason why that is generally because of like what's been happening, like with Brexit, like which is very involved with the reason why. So like I'm willing to I'm willing to make the stream pretty short,
Mhm.
actually. Like I'm down to do that. And if you chill with that, is that okay?
Yeah, I'm chill with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but like, yeah, I think we need to. In conclusion, we need to like seriously think about like fucking being within home. Like, we need to be near homeless movements. We need to be within homeless movements, and people who are in England need to be outside protesting this fucking policing bill because
I sleep amongst the homeless part time, actually.
yeah, you are a part-time hobo. Like, and the truth is that we can't necessarily depend on people to come in and solve our problems because we tick a fucking box, and we really shouldn't expect that because the in the oh is it in the words of Emma Goldman that if voting was that important they would have banned it by now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and that's how anything genuine is reaction is top bottom because it wants to repress the rising force, and revolution must be grassroots. It has to be from the bottom up.
yeah,
The all voting must cease. Whatever
yeah,
you like, I like Corbyn, but he was scrapped. Don't vote Corbyn because that will be a trick. That's always a trick. Once you get the sympathizer's trick. It's not that the sympathizer's bad, but he's put up there deliberately.
he's
Or
also
well,
it also it's not just the one person, it's the entire infrastructure of the thing. We have to look things at the totality and not just individual points of them. If you did that, you could go, oh damn, Hitler's a great artist. Like if you did that, damn, what a cool painter. Like that's what we're looking at things in the tiny parts that you want to focus on. Those you need to look at
but
things in
that's
the
what they do now.
totality.
People run campaign on the personality. Oh well, this is the first woman, or oh well, this guy actually, he actually plays the saxophone. Bill Clinton won because he played the saxophone. That's a joke.
And he also smoked pot once and didn't
Yeah,
inhale.
and he didn't inhale. Yeah,
They're bullshit. You play jazz. There's no way you haven't smoked more weed. Like fuck off. But
I always inhale.
if it's fine. I'm gonna sign off. Please subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Net's channel, subscribe to the Bundes Movement channel, and check out the content that might be coming out of there. And it's been lovely to have you on. I'll have you on at my own channel definitely. And Red Salute, Kajos, and we're gonna sign off. So if you want to say anything, that go for it.
All power to the partisans.
All power to the people, Kajos. Peace.